The Woe of Roanoke, Book 7. Copper pots at Ritanoe. 9 days' walk north of Manteo's village on the same day. His skills in repoussage saved them, though surviving a forlorn slave. Still a blacksmith's trade in a coppice surpassed being food in a cave. 'Twas the maid Jane Jones's idea, urged them to snatch flight chance, for after it finished with a fissure, the beast was inert in a trance. Jane chanced in the Chowan River, with him and a further 5, was the reason the 6 considered, the 6 since they still alive. Likewise Jane plainly a whopper, hence wife of Roanoke, 6 lived to beat his copper from his mines at Ritanoe. The chief Nick's a heartless master, though quick hammerings was hard, and he'd saved them from disaster, but he'd kept them under guard. Hard work that caused his calluses to form Roanoke's art was naught to lovelorn fallacies, beating agonies in his heart. Wounds were her nightly yammering, pangs hearing lustful groans. Her groans got poor John stammering, as the blacksmith stricken to his bones. Mesmerised in the flames of his forge, in wistful melancholy, torn in the town, nestled in the gorge, thoughts were an injury. His hurtful thoughts wrought copper works, etched in misery. Sorrowfully the urns Gibbs made for his yearnings tempered life, with futile fondness for the maid that was Roanoke's wife. 'Twas on the run that they bonded, it detonated during escape, though never with love she responded, as he'd comforted her after rape. Love's combustion once ignited, come dawn that phobic flight, stayed utterly unrequited, to sear him noon and night. The others had each other, they'd thank the Lord for that. John Wright, Tom Scott, gay lovers, Bob Ellis, second son to Pratt. John Gibbs' skills as a farrier, plus Jane's neat lady garden, song Roanoke marry her, and grant 6 more a pardon. Yet his essence sunk in the sewer, submerged in self-pity, though safe 'twas a desolate future, in the hands of the Occaneechi. His guttered soul showed in his craft, portrayed in low relief. Jane's charm set so in copper cast, made resplendent by his grief. Though he still feared the birdman, which featured out of fear, his finest art burst from his heart, art further, veneer. A veneer that hid his misery, a pretence that cloaked his pain, chasing on the periphery, embossing plaques with Jane. The chief expressed delicates with his pots and pans and plates, bade Gibbs to billet by him, which emphasised love aches. 'Twas an atrocious circular to bunk beside the chief, for as Jane's idol worshipper, their coitus amassed his grief, and his grief produced such sculpture in exquisite artefacts. His reward to share their structure, loathed witness their climax. And an Roanoke hit the mark each night to get her squealing, whilst John's soul wilted in the dark, quenched as the steams of annealing. And Roanoke quite endowed, and his proud prick much paraded, naked, prancing, iron roused, with his testicles both being braided. Roger Pratt oft stated that Jane Jones always jaded, nor nae surprise as a marmot size and a mousehole oft invaded. Malaise was mirth, they'd shamed his worm, his girth got Pratt's sarcasm, but it bit hard at night as heard the howl of her orgasm. Continuously, no flop nor fail, hear her carnal releases. If failed, ignore from his bed of straw, then he'd pull himself to pieces. Love's stomach-twisting serpent, spite summoned to spit bile, that locked him like a hermit, till again he'd see her smile and hark her murmur, would snap his solitaire, allowed him all the firmer, in cloud fantasized affair. Seasons came and seasons went, and the years didn't dent obsession, his metallurgy finest when he's smitten in depression. His works turned most accomplished, and they proved both fine and rare, but bowing to inner conflict, saw him drowning in despair. And he'd broke all 10 commandments, which enveloped in disgrace, but to sample her enchantments, hell fire he'd glad embrace. And as a former clergyman, the self-loathing wouldn't pass, a vulgar bygone Puritan that coveted an ass. John lost in reminiscence of 14 years ago, and of a superior existence than slave to Roanoke. Even when he was Matoir's meat, he had a little honour, not lost, enamoured, bade to beat, hammered pots of copper. Even when he beaten and headed for Bill's table, he thought her love would sweeten if he'd protect her if he were able. Worse was now, too humbled, in that cave he'd tried protect her. Too much the bedstead rumbled on as Roanoke fecked her. And he'd wished he'd been more gallant, and he'd wished he had more pride. Though dreamt he still of her talent, in the cave he wished he'd died.